Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, Cindy.
We got some more Resident Evil 4 Remake leaks to cover in this video. So yeah, apologies for the delays, guys, but I'm back. So let's no-scope our way right into this. So guys, we have another leaker who claims has a friend who has shared his knowledge of early builds of Resident Evil 4 Remake since 2018 and has recently playtested the game a few months ago. So with this information in mind, these leaks do sound a little bit more credible than the leaks we've had in the past. But hey, at the end of the day, like I always say, you'll never know. So don't take these leaks too serious. They're always up for speculation. And like I always say, they're just interesting to talk about. But yeah, the playtester claims his recent Resident Evil 4 Remake experience felt so different yet familiar and wanted more after the demo ended, which is very relatable to the original demo. I mean, I played the original demo at GameStop. I mean, shout out to anybody that did the same thing. I was literally a kid. Who wasn't a kid when RE4 came out? And I play tested the demo inside of GameStop, and I remember just finishing the demo and thinking like, man, this game's awesome, you know? So hey, that's a good thing. Very relatable to the original demo, so everything sounds good so far. There was apparently a survey collected from others about which boss encounters it would be best to remove, replace, or be improved upon from the original, which implies the fate of RE4 Remake lies in the palms of nerdy, sweaty playtesters.
It's not letting me switch. This stupid ass game! What am I playing? Huh? It's not letting me switch! The game's glitching!
Yikes. He also claims he has an idea of where Capcom is heading with the remake, and says the remake is apparently expanded to add lots of new content, which sounds yummy and tasty in my opinion.
A second late, you would have fit nicely into a sandwich.
Here's a list of which enemies and boss encounters will be removed from the remake. And as always, I always try to give some credibility to some leaks and try to say, hey, this sounds possible, this sounds like bullshit. So yeah, like I've done in the past, we'll do again in this video. So let's begin. Now the first leak states that Leon will only encounter the female chainsaw protesters once in the mine area, aka the Bell Sisters, and will be led up by an already mutated Dr. Salvador. There will be no other chainsaw enemies but the Belly Sisters later in the campaign, which is very interesting because I believe we only encounter the Belly Sisters once in the village mining area of the game. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember seeing them later after that. Not in the castle, not in the island. So are they implying that we will see them return on the island or in later part of the castle? Who knows? This leak is kind of a 50-50 for me. Kind of one that just gets tossed up in the air and it's up to you to decide. This one's a little tough to think about. As for Dr. Salvador, he will be a reoccurring boss until the mine area, aka when you meet up with the Belly Sisters. Each time he is defeated, he will be more mutated and his final form will eventually evolve into a Super Salvador, similar to the version of the Super Salvador in RE4 Mercenaries. Now this leak does make a lot of sense, and I do believe it, as the whole plot twist of RE4 Remake is to be more horror focused. And what better way to do it than reintroduce Dr. Salvador into a mutated, reoccurring boss that will only get more terrifying and intimidating as the story progresses. So this one I do believe, and it's a good move. Next up, Del Lago plays almost exactly how it was in the original, but now the spears are limited, which makes me think there may be another ending to Del Lago. There may be a quick time event or another cutscene sequence where we have to ride Del Lago and kill him off in a different method, similar to the Deep Blue Sea movie. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but there was a point where he had to ride the fucking shark like a badass and kill the damn thing. So it would be very fucking cool to see Leon do something like that in the remake. Speaking of the Del Lago scene, there is something I want to quickly point out that gets brought up a whole lot of times in my comment section. So a lot of people always wonder if Leon will be able to still wear the jacket, the fashionably new lovely jacket everybody loves, throughout the whole campaign. So if you look closely here at the trailer, you can see that he is not wearing the jacket anymore, and he's wearing his tactical suit just like in the original. So if you guys do want to prevent something like this happening again, I would suggest complaining and commenting the fuck out of Capcom's page or RE4 trailers right now, as there's still plenty of months for change. So guys, go ahead and do that, as I back that up. I do love the jacket, and I hate how it gets taken off early in the game. So guys, the time for change is now. Mendez is an interesting enemy stalker now, which is no surprise if you guys have played the remakes. It's no surprise that there's going to be another stalker role in RE4. Whether it's Dr. Salvador or Mendez or both is yet to be seen, but it appears that he won't appear a lot, but his house will be expanded and he will chase Leon throughout his home, which makes me wonder what's the budget for that remodel of Mendez's house. Jesus Christ. But anyways, unlike RE2 Remake, Mendez would grab any nearby Ganado and push towards the player. Huh, sounds like a freaking street fight. He will also push the Ganados and command them towards Leon, like, hey, quote, go get him, you fucking coward. I'll have you killed before him, you ungrateful bitch. These are straight narrative commands taken from the leaks. Mendez's boss fight at the end plays very similar to the original, which is very, very good. The original boss fight is really creepy, and I love that. So far, these leaks somewhat sound believable. Mendez doesn't really speak much in the original, but the fact that he does now, and he is more outraged and more commanding towards the Ganados, is a good move. Only 2 Garradors will be in the game. They will not die, but they will just be knocked out when defeated in each area until the end of the castle segment. Which makes me wonder if there's only 2 Ganados, because these 2 Ganados will be much different from the originals. They will be much more powerful, or possibly have a whole different plaga that will cause them to return and keep reoccurring throughout the castle. This leak I kind of don't believe, but it is believable if they have a different or a possibly more dangerous mutated plaga inside of them. I mean, how could you fucking launch a rocket launcher at a dead Garrador and he'll still come back later, right? This leak is a little iffy, but hey, you know, we will see. The U3 has been completely redesigned, which is a good move. He was already terrifying to begin with in the original, so I'm very curious to see how he's going to look with these new graphics. I can already imagine this is going to be spooky. As far as how he's being handled, it'll be very similar to the baby sequence from RE Village, where the player must solve a puzzle to escape the dark, eerie area, moving forward to a bigger space of battle. This new area of battle contains a lot of nitrogen containers to slow it down, similar to the left hand of Salazar fight sequence. So this all does sound very believable, and I do actually believe this one. It's just kind of common sense, you know what I'm saying? Speaking of common sense, this next leak is not using any common sense, because this leak states 2 El Gigantes has been completely removed, only leaving 1 in the village, which implies the 2 El Gigantes we encounter in the mining castle segment of the story will be completely removed. But at the very least, we will at least get to see El Gigante in the village. I was very worried if they would remove El Gigante, as his whole battle sequence and his whole character design is kind of a little outrageous. But hey, it is very iconic for the game for him to return. Next up, it states Krauser will be in the remake, and his design will be completely reimagined. He will now be wearing a full black sweater with tactical clothing around him. You know, I brought the Krauser situation up in the past and how he's so relevant to the RE4 story, and how he's the only technically skilled operative that can pull a move like that in kidnapping the president's daughter. But yet people are so quick to dismiss Krauser and cut him off completely from the story, when in reality he's the most skilled professional operative that can pull off a heist like that. It's called an inside job for a reason. Krauser is from the inside. He's a military expert and he's hired from the US government. So how can Salazar, Mendez, or Sadler pull off a move like that? You know, their whole background and identity does not fit into this scenario. It's called an inside job for a reason, and there's a whole investigation as to why this has happened and why Leon has been sent to investigate. So all these other YouTubers and their videos claiming that Krauser is not that relevant and he can easily be replaced obviously need a reality check, and they don't really know much about Resident Evil lore if they're claiming things like that. The Regenerators and the Iron Maidens are much more scarier. Instead of having one variant each, they'll come in 4 or 5 different variants. Like regular, long, obese, abnormal, etc., each will have its parasites located differently. Unlike the game, they won't be killed until all parasites are deliberately eliminated, which I think is possibly very believable. I mean, the whole intention, like I say, as the remake is to make it scarier. So what's more scarier than a reoccurring regenerator that just won't die, right? Salazar's boss fight will be similar to Moreau from RE Village. Leon will be located in a very large hallway with pillars. Salazar himself will still be sheltered by his shell until the player defeats his left hand. It's very interesting how Capcom is taking some influence from Village. I always wonder and notice how a lot of companies take inspiration from other games that sell successfully and try to introduce ideas from those games into new games as far as design and element choices for the game. Just because Village was successful does not mean that their ideas will be successful in a Resident Evil 4 remake, as it's a whole different story. Another good example of this is the new Uncharted movie. The fact that companies would rather use popular actors in Hollywood that know would get them a lot of money instead of sticking to the source material just goes to show how greedy the companies are and how all they care about is just money. Sure, there are some developers and some people behind the scenes that do passionately care about the project, but at the end of the day, the main director calls the shots. And his motivation for the whole movie or for new games is just money. So I'm hoping that's not what this is going for in the RE4 remake. Yes, of course, RE4 remake has been released thousands of times. I believe they even have it for a fridge. But I desperately hope that this is not just another cash grab, as RE4 is one of my most favorite games of all time, and I would love to experience it all over again with today's modern age graphics and more complicated software and game engines. I would love to see this game in a whole new light, but yet be so familiar and shine bright how it used to. But yeah, anyways, let me know what you guys think about all of that. Next up and last, it just states that Novistadors has been completely cut, which I hope isn't true. I was actually a big fan of the Novistadors. I feel like they brought a whole different element to the RE4 game, as there's not that many bugs or parasites or animals that attack you in the game. They're mostly mainly people and Garradors and Ganados, you know? But I particularly enjoyed the huge cavern where the Novistadors are just flying around and you have to enable 2 light switches after the mining area. That particular area is gorgeous, so I hope to see that return in a whole new graphic settings and a whole new light. But anyways guys, that's all the leaks I can squeeze into this video. There's another part 2 coming to this, and I know some of you are kind of tired of these leak videos. Maybe you've already seen them on a different channel, but supply and demand always wins, and I wanted to provide some info on these leaks as well. But yeah guys, sorry about that. But anyways, if you enjoyed the video either way, be sure to subscribe and leave a like, and you know, stay tuned. I'll have some more videos out soon regarding other topics. Resident Evil 9, Resident Evil 8 DLC, you got it here baby. So yeah, as always guys, stay awesome. I'll see you next time.